on this week's episode of The Chris and Andre Show.
Pop culture.
Dredd was actually a perfect example of comic book movie and at its peak. Dredd is one of my top 3 comic book movies, period. And I was so in love with how well they treated that movie. I bought it on multiple digital fronts. I bought it in 4K. I bought it in Blu-ray. There's this elusive steelbook copy that's been floating around that was only available through Best Buy. If somebody watches this and has that, hide
The
it.
second one or the original one?
So I'm coming for it. No, the second one.
The
remake. The remake with Carl Urban.
The original one was good too, if you like campy bullshit.
Yeah, if you're a Sylvester Stallone fan.
Yeah, but if you're
was it Rob
Zombie?
No, it was Rob Schneider.
Oh yeah. The second one was dope, yo.
The second one was insane. It was so good.
I was so happy to see Judge Dredd get real appreciation, like real honest. Like this is uncompressed Judge Dreddiness. I'm sorry if you're watching this, because a lot of people are like, "Oh, Judge Dredd, he looks a lot like he's the Punisher." I'm like, nope, he's so much worse.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah.
So he's so evil in a good way. I love him. Like he's
the anti-hero is a good trope, if I'm being honest.
But do you think that the anti-heroism stuff is something that starts to contribute to what we see and to kind of bring this full circle?
And it could talk about that dude who shot those people who got out of jail.
Which one?
The white kid. I keep.
Oh, Rittenhouse. Yeah.
I have no memory of him because I don't care. But
I do wonder, does this anti-hero fetishism that I feel like we are starting to get into to a certain extent in this country, start contributing to some of the gun violence that we see?
No,
right?
I don't think the two things are connected.
Okay.
I would say that there was going to be gun violence anyway. Vigilante, the desire to be vigilante, being a vigilante or a pseudo vigilante, empowers the people who were going to do something stupid like that anyway.
Okay, that makes sense.
Justice. In reality, they're just being assholes.
I just didn't know if there's this glorification of the violence at this point. With stuff like Punisher and Dredd, where you get to a point where it's
has a part of violence compared to
when you tag that with the anti-hero piece of it, and I think you get somebody that feels like they're bullied or looked down on or mistreated within, say, a school environment, feels like I'm the anti-hero, right?
So
that's what I'm wondering.
The anti-hero works great when you have a Red Hood or the Punisher or a Judge Dredd, where you understand the gaps in the system, right?
Yeah.
Where somebody does something completely outside the lines, and they're gonna walk. It's insane to think that should be true, right? Like Rittenhouse.
But is it okay? I mean, in your opinion, in real life, if somebody does something heinous and gets away with it because of the legal system, is it okay for an individual to take the law into their own hands?
I wouldn't blink.
But isn't that ultimately up to the individual and how they feel whether or not justice was served?
So this kid Rittenhouse, right? Seriously, that's a real life situation.
That's a great example that we can work with, right?
Yeah. It's like he was the villain the whole way through the story. He intentionally bought a gun. He intentionally went to a place he doesn't live at. Mm-hmm. He, quote unquote, was trying to defend something.
Right.
He caps off on 2 people and kills them in the street. And our system, because the gaps, because of, limiting how justice could be served. Yeah, dude, and he's the villain. He's the epitome of the Joker, killing multiple people and going to Arkham.
But not everybody sees him that way. I'm not saying they're right, but
a lot of people treat him as a hero or in society for being picked on like that. He went out there, he served the Commonwealth, he put down 2 bad people who deserve to get shot. I've heard that rhetoric so
exactly. And I'm certainly not here to support that, right? I think you guys both know that. But
I'm not saying
what I'm trying to get at is and it's tricky talking about a real life situation, because what Like, I don't think it would be okay for somebody to just like walk up to Kyle Rittenhouse and shoot him in the head and be like, boom, justice is
That's
served.
what I was
Like,
gonna say. It's not
I
tricky
don't,
situation.
But-
Just own up to how you feel. Like that's your opinion. And
but I'm saying I don't think that is acceptable. Like, I mean, do you
Because
feel like that?
because
If his family did, I wouldn't skip a beat.
If his family shot and killed him, you wouldn't care?
Yeah.
Is what you're saying? But if somebody else did?
some in-house justice.
like the person that probably needs justice for that, because he wasn't tried fairly, right? If his family was like, nah, he deserved, like, and this is me, like, if his family was like, that needs to be cleaned up, that ledger needs to be balanced, I wouldn't skip a beat.
So the way I see, because
That sounds, well, let me pause.
No,
Let
I understand.
me bring it back. I feel pretty. I feel pretty bad for saying that, because I know it's not the mainstream thought, but as somebody that understands like the legal system and understands how it can be kind of like, some people get off on some shady crap.
Yeah.
I mean, the ledger's got to be balanced, yo. That's just like real talk.
But is that our job?
Going back to comic books,
I said if it was his family.
But that's what I mean, like our meaning humanity, right? Like, and to an extent, I want to bring religion into this, because I feel like part of it is that these people will get theirs in the end, right? Like,
Sure.
You live your life on this earth, and if you were a shitty human being who went out and killed two people where in your heart you knew you wanted to go do that, like, when you're dead, your ass is going to hell. Like, right? I mean, like,
so the thing about religion in that respect, and I know Andre's got less to say about this, but religion in that respect only works for the victims, because you think that because they're going to get their just desserts in the afterlife, that allows me to cope with the injustice of society as it is now.
sure.
But at the same time, it also enables people to take advantage of the system to perpetrate their acts of cruelty.
To hear the rest, tune into this week's episode of The Chris and Andre Show.